how to make pizza dough. It's really easy, and there's a lot of things you can do with pizza dough. So it's a very versatile recipe. All right, I have my recipe right here, and I'm going to share it with you. The first thing I'm going to use is dry yeast. That's going to make my pizza dough rise. So I'm going to take a teaspoon of that, put it in my little bowl, and add just a tiny bit of sugar to that. Yeast likes sugar, so I'm going to put a little sugar, and then I have a third of a cup of warm water. And that yeast is going to love the warm water, and it's going to love the sugar, and it's going to start to bubble up and get happy. So I give that a stir so that all my yeast is dissolved, and set it aside. All right, then I'm going to take a bowl. I'm using bread flour today. You can use all-purpose. Bread flour gives you a little bit chewier crust. I'm going to take a cup of bread flour, and I'm going to take half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to make a little well in the center of that flour. Now my yeast, which I have ready, all bubbled up and foamed up, I'm going to pour that all in there, right in the middle of the flour. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil. Makes for a nice pizza dough. All right, so you just start mixing that. And it comes together real quickly into a dough. This is where I like to just use my hands. All right, so you don't want your dough real sticky, but you don't want it real dry. So this dough feels a little bit dry. I'm going to add a pinch of water. I have a little bit extra water here. And just a couple extra drops of water in there. I want to make sure I use all the flour. Mix it really nice until you get a smooth dough. So it's not sticking to my hands and it's not dry and crumbly. If it's dry, add more water. If it's really sticky, you want to add a little bit more flour. All right, this dough, you're going to mix it and knead it for about 5 minutes. Make sure all that flour is mixed in, and press it down with the palm of your hand. Fold it back. Press it and fold it. Press it and fold it, and that's kneading it. You can pick it up and squish it around. You want to get all the gluten in there working. The gluten is what's going to make our pizza dough nice and stretchy and chewy. So you want to keep working this dough. After it's like this, give it a few more minutes of pulling and stretching and kneading. Once your dough is all smooth, you're going to take that bowl that you started with, put a little touch of olive oil in there, just enough to coat the dough. Roll the dough around in there so it's coated with olive oil, and cover it up, set it in a warm place about 30 minutes or even an hour. All right, now that our pizza dough is rested, it's risen in the bowl, and it's nice and fluffy now. So this is ready to roll into a pizza. I have my pizza pan, and I'm going to put a little more olive oil on that pan. That also makes for a nice crust. So, to keep it simple, I'm just going to take this piece of dough right out of my bowl. It's in a nice little circle already. And I'm going to set it right in the center of my pan and start to push it out to a pizza shape. You don't want to work the dough and stretch it and try and throw it up and everything, because it's very relaxed right now. And once you start pressing it out, it kind of gets tight again. So just real gently, one time, put it down and press it out. You can give a little extra attention to the crust and build that up a little bit by pinching it. Okay, I'm going to take my pizza sauce, a very simple little marinara sauce. Put it right in the middle. Spread it around all the way to the edge. lot of sauce on my pizza. All right, then I'm going to put a little bit of cheese. And I'm going to put a little bit of pepperoni. Turkey pepperoni is pretty good. All right, then I'm going to put a bunch more cheese on top. Now, it's always a good idea to eat vegetables, so feel free to put a few veggies on this if you'd like. A few mushrooms, maybe even some spinach. All right, there we go. My pizza is ready. Now, if I wanted to, I could let this sit for a little while, but I can also put it right in the oven. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bake this. My oven's pretty hot right now. I have it at 425. Pizza's like a really hot oven, so don't be afraid. Put it in a hot oven. Hey, I'm back. Well, I made 2 batches of pizza dough, so I can show you a couple other things. So this second batch of pizza dough, I'm going to show you how to do a flatbread with it. So I'm going to take this lovely fluffy dough out. I'm going to divide it in about half. And I'm going to use this portion to make a little flatbread. I have my toppings right here. I'm going to try and make it into a little bit of a rectangle just for something different. So I just gently take my dough. I'm going to put it on the table and press it out into a rectangle. So this is just going to be a simple margarita flatbread. I have some fresh garlic that I chopped up. I'm going to put garlic because I just love garlic. And I have some fresh slices of mozzarella cheese. Place that around. You can put absolutely anything on here. If you have something left over in the refrigerator you want to use up, you can put that on. It doesn't even require any sauce necessarily, just some cheese and some vegetables. But you can put sauce too. I'll place some fresh tomatoes here. And I have some fresh basil, and I'm going to sprinkle that on. And I'm going to save some basil for when it comes out of the oven so I can sprinkle it again. And I'm just going to give it one little dash of olive oil on top. And that's ready to go in the oven. Now, the other portion of my dough that I have here, I'm going to turn this into garlic knots, garlic parmesan knots. So I'm going to make 2 of those. Here I have my pizza pan with a little bit of parchment paper on it. I'm going to take my dough. I haven't worked it at all yet. It's still nice and fluffy. And I'm going to roll it, push down on it, and roll it into like a snake shape. About maybe 8 inches long. Then I'm going to take that, wrap it around my hand, and shape it into a knot. That might be a little hard for you to see, but I'll do it one more time. Take your little dough, roll it out into a snake shape nice and evenly. Wrap it around your hand. Tuck it up and under, and you have a nice little knot. Then, for garlic knots, I have a little bit of herb garlic butter here. So I just melted butter and I put in a little garlic powder, a little thyme, basil, and oregano. And I'm going to brush that over my rolls. I'm going to do that now, and then I'm going to do it again when they come out of the oven. All right. Both of these are ready to go in. All right. Well, I have my pizza and my flatbread and my garlic knots in the oven, and my timer just went off, so let's get them out. My garlic parmesan knots. So I have a little bit of grated parmesan right here. I'm going to sprinkle on top, and I'm going to drizzle a little bit more of this herb butter over it. I'm going to stick it back in the oven for just a minute or 2 just to warm that cheese up. And look at that pizza. It came out pretty good, huh? I think it looks great. Give it a little garnish. That's gonna be dinner. Hey, another fun thing you can do with that pizza dough, you can actually deep fry it, okay? Every once in a while, just kind of crave a donut. This is almost just as good as a fresh donut because you made it. So I took that dough. I remember when I was making my garlic parmesan knots, I had little pieces of dough. Well, I saved a couple of those pieces and I heated up some canola oil to 350 degrees. And this dough has been sitting, it's puffy, it has risen, and I'm going to plop it into this fryer oil. 350 degree oil, just for a couple minutes. They'll puff up and they'll start to brown. When they get brown, you want to flip them over. All right. After they're nice and golden brown, carefully remove them from the oil and drain them on a paper towel for a second. You might want to make an extra big batch of pizza dough so you definitely have some left over. So this is called zeppole, Italian donuts, just made with simple pizza dough. But I'm going to put some chocolate sauce on. You could also put a scoop of ice cream right here. We'll finish it off with a little powdered sugar. All right, I'm ready to cut my pizza. It didn't stick to the pan at all because I put that olive oil on there. So look at this, it will slide right off onto my cutting board. I'm going to do 8 slices of this. Flatbread, same thing. Look at that, came right off of there. Oh, that looks good. I'm going to cut this in little strips. And there you go. Not a bad deal. We've got 4 different things to eat out of one batch of dough. Pretty fun. Keep practicing and don't forget to eat your vegetables.